Hey y'all, what's up? What's going on? I'm Taja Trooper Moore here. Welcome to Where Our Travelers Simply Below. Sit down. My daughter is over here just acting like she just cannot stop. Ah, so mommy duties they call. And anyway, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us. So from this floor to flourish type of ideas and the things that we've been thinking about and holding for particular type of ideals, what I've come to realize by working from that particular retail floor, particularly speaking, is from Gazooks and the evolution of trend awareness. And that's really all that was. It was a very trendy store. I remember getting particular t-shirts for myself and my girlfriend at that point in time, Shania. She was one of my really like BFFs. And especially in high school, that was my high school BFF. Your high school boyfriend or dude or whatever. She was definitely my school BFF. And I loved her for that. And that's the place that nobody else could be. Like she was a Pisces, I was a Scorpio, so we were always very moody, intuitive, and we always liked to dress alike and be around one another. So I appreciated it for what it was, even if it wasn't never nothing more than that. You can't be greedy in life. That's what I learned as a young lady, an entrepreneur and businesswoman, as I coach clients and I deal about everything that goes on in life. You come to be appreciative of what you have, no matter big or small. Mind you, just remember that I said that. You heard that here first. Okay, on our channel. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you're returning, hi, girlies. I know you've been radiating that confidence. The way that you did was beautiful. It was so beautiful. You beautiful baby. Okay. All right, y'all. So anyway, Gazooks was one of my very first jobs, and it actually got bought out by Forever 21. And I now know that you are never to just hold one company into such a high esteem, put all your faith in one company. And I learned that totally, especially with Forever 21. I was just like enthralled, like the all that there is in the world. And it totally proved wrong. Like, okay, whatever. You just another one that bit the bullet. You know what I mean? And that's what you see. That's just so happened to how the cookie crumbled, if you will. And trend acumen and visual storytelling was for sure. So the outfit that I really wanted to do for our little maybe ninth, 10th grade, whatever dance at that time. Yeah, I don't think it was homecoming, but it was definitely some kind of event where we got to hang out and for we had to buy one of our tickets. And so I did our t-shirt was I love my boyfriend. At that point in time, I don't even think I had a boyfriend. Like Sensatia's father is probably nowhere in the picture, but mind you, I've been knowing him since I've been like 6 or 7 years old, like in the making for real, for real. So maybe, let's say, I know her father was there while I was probably like eighth grade or younger. So, like, and hell, and I'm even tempted to say like third or fourth grade for real, walking back and forth on the streets. I kind of feel like, that was something that I just happened to have seen. And then when we moved, I always wanted to get back here to be able to see him again and more. And that was what the whole entire point was at that particular point in time. It was to pinpoint particular type of thoughts and things that take place, especially when he hunts. He has to like really realize that I'm thinking a certain type of way. And that's where I ended up buying those particular outfits from at that point in time. So it's sad because it's implied, but it's so subtle that you miss it. So Tasia, what are you doing? You kind of close to the edge, sweetheart. And so I bought those shirts for her and myself. I think she gave me the money, and I wanted to say we were out and want to say maybe like Strongsville somewhere or something like that, because I don't want to say that we had it at the store that I originally was working at, which was out in Menor, Ohio. So I ended up having to find it at a different mall location. That's why I want to say it's in Strongsville, Ohio. Cetasia, which was kind of sort of close to South Park Mall, which is out in Strongsville, Ohio. And so eventually, though, it did go out of business, and they actually did uh, wind it up shutting down. And when I did that, I was just at like a total loss. I just knew I was going to move up and become one of the managers. So I guess I always had that thought to begin with in the first place, but it actually went out of business before I was able to actually actualize that particular ambition. And so I really was not able to um, realize that particular one there. And so I guess that taught me about patience because eventually I did become a manager to a store. But again, it was not the one that I thought that was to manifest for Gazooks, and it ended up not being there after all. But I did ended up learning about some of the different aspects of managing through some of my managers there. Colin, Michelle was another really cool one. Anne Marie was a really cool one. The very first lady that hired, did the hiring at that point in time when I actually did get hired there was a young lady named, I want to say Deanna. And she was a white girl. She used to wear these like brown furry boots. And they were really pretty though, actually. And she was just really honest about what she expected of myself as I worked there. And she was so clear focused about it that you really had no choice but to accept responsibility. And that's exactly what I did while I was there. Even Sabrina Wynn, all of the drama that came through, all the things that I told Colin, like, I'm so sorry for allowing him to do this and do those type of things. And at the end of the day, it's like she knew all of those things and still chose to make sure that I had a chance, even when that was the case. That's a rare person to find yourself surrounded by, right? And that's just proof to see that you can be known to make mistakes and still lead because that's a part of the learning process. And nothing's wrong with that. And that's a really authentic and sincere mindset to have and carry. And it does make for good management. This is very true. And there are so many times when people can notice that you are leading, which is actually another skill that you have to master, that when you are leading, there are jealousies that comes along with that. And as you continuously travel that particular role, I used to have a series called that was for traveling, the traveling series. And you see that because you are deemed as the leader and you have the most pay and you really carry a hefty load, that along with that comes jealousies and people who try to take you off that pedestal. And eventually you have to kind of sort of learn how to grow into that role and accept those things as accountability wise with grace and a standard and a boundary. Okay. Because you can't stop other people from having their jealous thoughts and feelings to take you away from the things that you're in charge of managing. So there's that. And then you have moments where those thoughts are manifested in form of people. The test becomes a part of having that ability to understand cultural shifts, especially when you step from a lower role into a higher one, management. And then you have to find yourself adapting your aesthetic in order to give off that particular type of leading energy. How do you accomplish those things? Watch what you say. Watch the company that you keep. If somebody is coming up and all they're doing is causing drama, years later, you will see that they've reaped that. And now you understand why you drifted apart. You're not supposed to be around those people because eventually when you allow yourself to continuously hang around those type of entities who only bring you negativity, eventually you will find yourself in a very similar predicament and a life lived that is kind of sort of detriment to what your original hopes and dreams and ambitions might have been, instead of distance yourself from them and then actually find that you're actualizing them. So it's a difference there. So if people leave, I have learned to abide by the lesson that they're meant to be where they are, which is away from you as you are considered uh, a leading role in the thoughts that you carry about your own life. Okay. And so using visuals to tell your evolving a personal story is not easy. It's not for everybody. Staying away from people in order to make sure that you have a self actualized persona and not one that's buried in the dirt before it's time is definitely about a personal story. And what is it that you wanted to say when you're long gone? And for myself, what the things are manifesting are things that I was a good wife. I found a good hubby, a good husband. I was able to stand on my own 2 feet. I was able to retire and put my daughter through school and have her go through our education system successfully, or I was able to maintain a church type of persona and spirit, even though I had multiple people vying for my own chastity to make me feel as though I'm just a sad being all the time. And those spiritual forces just did the opposite. Instead of forcing me further from God, it actually drew myself closer to God. So you want to be mindful and thankful for those type of interferences, because they are telling you that these people are leaving because they no longer served your purpose or your best good at heart. And that is where your ultimate triumph is like low. As soon as the enemies thought that they got you, he passes on. And that's exactly what happened. And so thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy days and schedules to stop by our channel. Thank you so much. If you're returning, hey girlie, like I said, I hope that you've been glowing throughout the day, because you're a beautiful little lady over here. My gentleman, you have such a beautiful glow about you as well. And if you are new, hi, welcome. I'm happy to have you all here. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. If you have found something that was really something that was just like, oh, girl, you totally get me, leave a like. If you stay into the very end of this video, also want you to leave a heart emoji. Doesn't matter which color. I just want to know that you stay into the very end because you enjoyed the video. And other than that, I will talk to you all again soon. And thank you for watching. I will talk to you all again in our next season and episode. Actually, it's going to be no more seasons. It's only one season. But in our last and final episode of working the sale floors to actually flourishing in life through our channels, our different platforms for social media, and our coaching and different businesses. And it is that type of vibe. None but that rich chick and